The Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal big footy rules still apply. Alright, so this is the Flogcast for round one. Fyfie joined by Dan.
Evening.
Ant.
G'day.
Teach.
Hi.
Paddles.
Hey.
And joining us for his first appearance is our special guest, Shpeshal Ed. I can't say it.
G'day, guys.
Where do we want to begin?
Maybe Fremantle trashing the scum.
No, we'll open the season opener.
Well, why not?
Okay.
I mean, that was just an amazing game where Fremantle just tore Collingwood apart and didn't just the media and everyone get into them after. Sorry,
They did a
Special.
little bit. They did a little bit. Luckily, Richmond and Sydney took the focus off us, though.
Yeah, mate,
And
you got
Carlton.
fucking smashed. Oh,
Yeah,
Jesus.
big time.
That was a bad game for Collingwood.
And
Yeah,
a great
looked
game
alright.
for the rest of us.
But also
It
your goal kicking as well. 5 goals, 16. That's just
Yeah, I know.
atrocious.
Well, that's been stock standard for about 5 years now, hasn't it?
Yeah, but still, bloody hell.
Yeah, the first quarter looked okay. Looked promising.
It did. Collingwood got the swarm going, but they didn't convert. So
Yeah, I
after
think-
that, it just turned into a Fremantle fest.
Fremantle clicked another gear and they weren't going to get beaten. I mean, they look unstoppable with Sandilands back
Yeah.
at the side now.
They seemed
The
to
thing
just
is-
drop their heads after they were missing all those shots.
The thing is, the scum even lets Fremantle get more than 100 points against them. Like, even...
Paddles,
We haven't done
paddles. You beat them in 2 grand finals. Stop calling them the scum, right? You know, just be nice and back off and say Collingwood, not the scum. Okay?
How long until Nice Teach disappears this week?
Oh, well, you know, we've got Shpeshal Ed on this week, and Paddles just needs to be a little bit considerate to his fellow flogcaster. So, you know, just be nice, Paddles. I mean, you got a nasty streak in you. You're all over the fucking politics, and you're all over fucking Collingwood.
You got
Just
a mute button for him?
Oh, you've been giving me shit for weeks now, Ant. Just back off, mate.
But yeah, it was pretty ordinary from them for the last 3 quarters. Freo were very, very good, but it was the same problems. Like, even when you factor in the missing players, Cloak got cleaned out because he didn't have anyone to support him. But even when you factor in White and Reed, there's still that massive hold down back.
I still think a lot of it comes back to that midfield. They're starting to become fucking one-way runners. I'm reserving judgment for now. I'm going to wait for the Sydney game and see what happens there. If I see us get destroyed there, then it might be time to start worrying, but I'll wait and see.
I think that you've got a lot of players that have got under 50 games experience. And so, as a result, they can panic under pressure and they
And they're hit and
don't
miss
know.
as well.
Yeah, they just don't know how to work with each other in pressure situations. It's a building phase, and that kind of came out on the weekend.
Yeah, I tipped Collingwood this year to finish 12th, and nothing's suggesting they're not going to finish there.
Does Nick Maxwell still get a game next week?
God, I hope not. Seriously,
You can
that's
sit- you
the
can
one.
sit next
That's
to the
the
bumper
one
on the
thing
bench,
I
can't
hope
he?
Buckley has the balls to do. Just drop him. Just be done with it.
Well, I mean, on form, it's a warranted question, all jokes aside.
He was ordinary.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been shithouse for a couple of seasons now. It's not anything new, but he always had the captaincy as the get out of jail free card. He doesn't have that anymore now, so I'm hoping Buckley's got the balls to drop him when it's required.
He's got a fucked head too.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty good note to move on from? Let's move on to, this was my personal favourite result of the week, Sydney and GWS, which...
How good was that? Because that was pretty close coming up to the last quarter, and then GWS just stepped up another gear and burnt them.
Yeah, like in the past with those expansion teams, they'd probably be in the game at, about 3/4 time, and you're like, oh, maybe they'll pinch it.
They'd
But
drop off.
generally, 3 or 4 goals from the established team puts them away, and that's the game. But it was funny.
That was a Brian Taylor moment. It was, oh boy, wowee, big goals. They absolutely creamed them. No one expected it. I sat there watching it. Oh my God, I don't want to play this team anytime soon.
Is it GWS been that good, or Sydney just seem to have lost that something about them? I know there was a bit of discord in the team with the way with Buddy's contract. There was a few players unhappy. They didn't have the pre-season they normally have. Maybe there's a bit of rumblings down at the old Sydney town.
I reckon it's like the Collingwood Freo game, and I reckon it's going to make our game with Sydney in a couple of weeks pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, that is a good point, because Collingwood plays Sydney and Richmond play Carlton. All four losers play each other next week, and two teams are going to be looking at a pretty bad
start.
Yeah.
The bottom four.
I'm just glad we don't play GWS anytime soon, because you always get this effect with a club that's got a new coach. You really don't want to play them in the first few weeks of the season, because they're always up and about, and they have just shown that they're not just up and about, but they are able to take down any team that takes them on their home turf. So, glad we're not going up there.
They've got good players on every line, so there's no reason for them not to be putting up performances like that anyway.
It helps, though, when the big, expensive man at Sydney can't do a thing. Like, he was shanking him like at his worst as well.
Yeah, he's
dropping
playing
chest
Collingwood
marks.
next week, man. He'll kick 15.
He is a bit hit and miss, even when he was at Hawthorn, though. He'd go well one week and just... Yeah.
This was on par with some of his worst efforts at Hawthorn, though.
How shit has his week been, though? You know, he's had 7 possessions, and then he's had Mr. Peter Griffin smash his car.
That was my first thought when I heard that Hanbury pranged his car. I was like, I wonder how much he grimaced getting out of that wreck. Just, yeah. But he's got so much money that's basically nothing to him. But he wouldn't want to spend it all at once up there, because those are expensive coffees they've got.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
But yeah, that was probably the best result of the week. Watching that
the
was
most surprising result, at least, anyway. I mean, the other games I pretty much tipped. The only one that I didn't tip was the Sydney GWS game, so it was the only surprise result for me.
So they got a return out of Cameron, and they got a return out of Patton. And how good was Treloar in the midfield? They just ripped them apart. I mean,
apparently Heath Shaw did well as well. So I think they've
that's the thing.
Heath Shaw,
yeah. And Mumford, the guys they got when they missed out on Buddy that filled the Buddy cap space, actually
hard man. Yeah. Josh Hunt did all right too.
It was just fantastic to watch, just watching it happen. Like, you just couldn't believe it. And then everything about Sydney, the whole build up of the off season, and one day it came crashing down.
Yeah, it was pretty ugly for them.
I was hearing today they were saying that Jeremy Cameron's actually tracking ahead of Wayne Carey and Jonathan Brown and a few others in terms of goals kicked at this stage of his career.
Well, considering how poor the teams he's been in up until now, I mean, he's been starved of delivery. So imagine if he was in a good team.
Yeah, that's what
he kicked 60 goals in a team last year that would have had about that many inside 50s for the season. It was a fair effort, and he deserved that All-Australian spot comfortably.
And he kicked a sixth of those against Collingwood.
Was he playing on Maxwell?
No, it was the Bumba.
Yeah, I think it was actually Nathan Brown. Fucking pumped his ass.
But yeah, I think that's everything on GWS Sydney, so I guess we have to move on to Richmond Gold Coast.
Oh, Fyfie.
Well, yeah, I think everybody tipped this game except you, Fyfie. You were pretty confident that Richmond were going to win.
I don't see any record of saying that.
Yes, you did. You did, Fyfie, and you sucked me in, and I went with Richmond off the back of your confidence.
Fyfie, you had 800% confidence going into this.
You did.
You were very confident.
You was.
I was pretty confident, I will admit, yeah.
I mean, you're Gold Coast's bitch, and then you're confident you're going to win.
Yeah. I was genuinely disappointed with the result. Look, let's put it this way. We were shit, and, well, as much as Richmond supporters have defended him for a long time, God, Ty Vickery was ordinary.
Oh, he was a fucking...
But also, what I noticed is you didn't have a plan B. Your only plan was kick it to Vickery, and when he couldn't mark the ball, it was like, oh, shit, what are we going to do now?
Well, that was the thing. It wasn't even a good plan A.
Yeah.
Apparently they went to Revolt, targeted him inside 53 times all game, which made no sense. It was all on top of the head. He was playing on Warnock.
And you decided that, like every other stupid team before you, let's not tag Ablett. Let's not do anything about him.
No, we tried to. I thought Thomas played all right on him, considering, but he didn't get 50 touches, but he still got 40. But that wasn't the problem. We had 60-odd inside 50s, and we just kicked it on top of the tall man's head with no small forwards. Not even Brad Scott would do that.
Yeah, I think the scoreline actually flattered you guys.
A little bit, although we played pretty well in the second and third, admittedly. The pressure was up, and we moved it a bit better and held firm down back. But it was just, there was that first quarter we should have been further behind, and that last quarter they probably should have put us away.
So how did Deledio go? Shit?
He didn't play?
I think he was out there.
Yeah, he played.
About to say, I saw him a couple of times. I flicked over to the game. I saw him.
He had a decent game.
Seriously, I completely missed him. I thought he wasn't playing.
Did you miss the Beast, Teach? Your lady friend?
Oh, was the Beast there? Oh,
Yeah, Beast was there.
Most have said it's a man, but there are some of us, including myself, still think it's a woman.
I
No.
saw a beard on the Richmond Beast.
That means nothing because
That means
Suze
nothing.
has a beard.
Suze has a beard.
Stop talking over the top.
What?
Paddles. Let Paddles talk.
But again, yeah, so does Jack Watt, so that doesn't really prove anything, I guess. No, but the most disappointing thing for me for that game was I didn't get to see the KFC boy. I went just to try and find him, and I couldn't see him.
He's been reading your post, Paddles. He's trolled you good.
Yeah, he knows that what you look like, Paddles. So
I don't think his reviews for last year's karaoke was good, so he decided not to go.
And actually, there was 20,000 people there at Metricon, so it was a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, apparently 5,000 Richmond people made the trip up, which makes me wonder why. After the last three, why would you do it?
There were 5,000 Fyfies going, oh, we're going to win, we're going to win, we're going to win.
How did Dustbin go?
Moving back to the midfield, the halfback thing's not working. He didn't play poorly, but it's just he was needed elsewhere. Anything else on that? We haven't talked much about Gold Coast.
How about Jager O'Meara?
I didn't notice him as much as some of the other ones.
More David
Dion
Swallow. he
Prestia was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, David Swallow, like, geez, North will be kicking themselves. They missed him.
Well,
Yeah.
I think he's going to show this year why he was picked at number one. He's probably played his best game over the weekend.
He keeps that up, Andrew's going to follow him north, isn't he?
Oh, fuck off, Ant.
I guess stats-wise, I mean, their midfielders all had a good day out. I mean, Prestia 32, Riscatelli 28 possessions, and Dan's favourite, David Swallow, got 26 possessions, so it looks pretty even performance from the Gold Coasters.
They will be a bit tough to beat up there.
That'd be very hard to beat up there.
You'd have to be a good team and you'd have to be playing well to beat them. That was one thing that I did notice. So sky's not falling yet. There is always Carlton next week. Who we can move on to now because, well, amazingly, they didn't play football for a half and yet probably had the least embarrassing loss of the weekend.
Yeah, when they got back into the game, I was actually surprised. I thought Port just were living up to their hype from last year, but yeah, they seem to steady. Westhoff seems to have come on as a player. He did well down back end, kicked a couple of goals. Five, yeah.
Yeah,
so-
4 1/4. Basically turned the game.
Yeah. Well, he kicks 5 1/4 and 5 in a game, and Tomahawk kicks 5 in a game, and he's a fat, useless fuck. And
That's because Westhoff works up the other end, then drops down and kicks goals, whereas Tomahawk just sits in the goal square and goes kicking to me.
get
And
fucked.
also, if you're eating your lunch, Westhoff is not going to come over and say, hey, have you finished that?
I've got to say, Port are a fantastic team, and they are coming. What about that Ollie Wines? Jesus, he's
He's a gun.
Footballer.
Buddy Melbourne was stupid not picking him up, but
Oh,
what they needed was in and hard inside midfielders, and what do? They pick up
Tumpus
Yeah,
plays
Tumpus
outside.
has done. He's
did
basically
they pick
become.
Tumpus over Wines?
Yes.
Oh,
Hey, according to the Mighty Bush, Tumpus is part of their guaranteed premierships list.
And also the other thing is, Ollie Wines was best mates with Viney as well, so it was just.
Oh, wow.
They could have had a career player.
that is a shoot yourself in the head moment there.
They
Because
wouldn't have needed Daniel Cross or those types if they had
Vince.
did you see how much Port carved up Carlton in the midfield in the last quarter?
They carved them up all over the ground.
They absolutely massacred them. And you got Oak, you got Wingard, you got Wines. They are seriously a good team and coming. At least we don't have to put up with the KKK Crows whining at us anymore because Port are coming.
They're going to make them disappear. I'm guessing Paddles didn't watch the game.
I only got to like 1 or 2 minutes of it.
So you didn't get to see how good Pollock's game was?
Didn't he kick the first goal?
I don't know if he kicked the first. He kicked one of the last ones, and he was huge in the last quarter.
Yeah.
Genuinely
Won the
dominated.
game.
Pollock really looks like he's the heart and soul of Port.
Trolling Paddles aside, he was good. He was very, very good, and it makes you wonder why he couldn't do it at Brisbane. Maybe the Brisbane supporters don't want to admit it. Maybe there were problems up there. If Pollock can walk into Port in his very first game and do that, which he didn't do in 16 games at Brisbane.
Let's hope Karnezis can do something similar at Collingwood, eh?
Let's hope not.
One other thing I do want to mention is, did anyone catch what Andrew Walker did?
Oh, that was terrible. Didn't he only get a week?
He got 2 down to 1.
Is that the where he threw him into the fence?
He threw Anus
Yeah.
into the fence, yeah.
And then he acted all, oh, no, I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, and, he's like, oh, it's Monfries, he's dived. That was basically what he did. He's turned to the umpire, he's just giving him this look as though, oh, it's Monfries, he's thrown himself into the fence, but nah, that was bullshit.
Well,
He used the anus want freeze excuse.
Well, because it was Anus Wanfreeze, I was surprised that he didn't get flung back 20 rows up into the stands because he's such a flaky diver. So maybe it wasn't something that should have been penalised like it was, because he could have been thrown back a lot further than it was.
Could have been the Port influence. Hinckley's un-Essendoned him. He's no longer Lloyd's protege. They might have coached that out of him. But yeah, they were just dominated all over Carlton in that second half. It was amazing to see.
They got absolutely smashed.
I still don't know whether it means Port's the real deal, but it's because they played very well. But Carlton just showed that they're probably as ordinary as a lot of us think.
They'll be the best South Australian team this year. You can lock that in.
They'll make the 8. Whether they're poised to jump into the 4, that's hard to say. But I think as much as Port were good in that second half, Carlton were witches' hats. And, they're not going to go anywhere till Waite realises his potential.
Yeah, the potential. Jesus Christ, he's 37 and they're still waiting for his potential.
I think the Port have arrived, and I think that they are coming hard. They're not going to win the premiership this year. But
So they're not going to play off with Norf.
No, Ed, no, they're not.
Teach, you're going to get hounded all year for that. You know that.
Yeah, especially if North lose this week.
Unless North keep winning and finish top of the ladder, and then you can all eat my shit.
I would happily eat your shit if North won the flag.
Oh, well, okay. Actually, that's a bit weird.
Since we're on the subject of North and Teach is talking them up, Teach, how about you defend their latest move? They've requested the AFL to have the opposition not play their songs at away games or North home games to maximise their home ground advantage.
Unfortunately so, yes.
No 2 o'clock songs, no 5 o'clock songs.
That is
What, really?
absolutely ridiculous. I mean, because no matter where you play and no matter who you're playing, you must respect the fact that you have to play the opposition's theme song.
Yep.
Where did this idea come from? It's crazy.
Considering how silly this idea is, it had to have come from Suze.
Every single team, no matter what their home ground is, they need to play the opposition's theme song, when they come out into the ground, and if they beat them on their home ground, they need to play it at the end. The old 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock song.
But what I don't get is...
It's just a matter of respect. You just got to do it.
So North don't want to play in the rain. They don't want to hear opposition songs. What's
We're
next?
a fussy bunch.
No tackling because it won't hurt.
The funny thing is, it sounds like a request Eddie Maguire would make, but at the same time, if any club should be making this sort of request, it's Richmond. I don't think anyone would give a shit if Richmond was the only song we ever heard.
Okay,
At least
so I'm
they've
just
got a
reading
good
up
one.
this article on it. It was authored by the North General Manager of Media and Communications, Heath O'Loughlin. Must have come from Suze, because he must spend half his time since he's media manager dealing with shit from Suze.
Well, douchebag needs to be sacked because, he has no appreciation for the historical significance of football and theme songs.
So they basically North want to create a hostile environment like what's experienced when playing interstate and in Geelong. How about just turn up to the fucking game?
Hey. Down in Geelong, we played the opposition's theme song before the game, and if they beat us, we play it after the game. We're not
Then
a bunch
you beat
of
them up
fucking
outside
sooks.
the game, don't you?
Yeah. We might put an axe into their head outside the
Slash their
game.
tyres.
Yeah, slash their tyres. But we play their theme song at least, so we're good people.
Mate, if they showed up, then they could have a decent atmosphere.
Yeah, that's the thing. The article says they want a home ground advantage, particularly at Etihad Stadium. So it seems as though they want to just dictate everything at Etihad. Make sure the roof's closed. Don't play the theme song, Blow the siren at 3/4 time.
Unless we're behind.
Yeah. Well, they're never behind at 3/4 time.
True.
It's an embarrassing request, and I'm totally against it.
What's the sentiment on the North board, Dan? Because we know they're a weird bunch.
Well, they are, but some of the more knowledgeable ones have basically said what I've said, that it's embarrassing and that it shouldn't ever get the go-ahead. You got to respect your opposition no matter who they are or where you play. It's as simple as that.
Oh, look, I'm just reading the thread now. There is one.
Shut up, Ant.
Joseph thinks it's a good idea. Some fun.
Yeah,
thinks
that's
it's
one
worth a
more.
shot. Worth a shot. Good to know that the club is always innovating and conniving. That's an interesting mix. Prez? I reckon the idea was a good one. Sorry, Dan. I think there's more yeses than nos on this idea in this thread.
So yeah, before we move on past it, we did mention Buddy's crashed car, and he's been spending his money quite loosely, and we've got the top 5 things he's going to spend his money on in Sydney. Number 5, Ant.
A tummy tuck / liposuction, purely because the Sydney jumper is not so slimming.
Number 4, Dan.
Buddy's spending his hard-earned on budgie smugglers for each colour of the rainbow.
Those indigo-coloured budgie smugglers aren't cheap.
Number 3, Teach.
An injunction on medical records that we cannot access.
Number 2, paying Norf not to play their theme song when they lose to them.
That's not funny. Because Norf would actually accept the money.
And number 1, Ant.
Private jets for Sharad.
One other thing I wanted to mention is, this shits me being on the first week, but with the split round, when you lose in the split round, it's a long time till you play again. Jeez, it's frustrating.
Tell me about
And
it.
you were confident about winning too, weren't
Yeah,
you, Fyfe?
yeah, we've already been through that, yeah.
800%.
But anyone else hate that?
Yeah, it's a bit shit house. It's a long, long wait.
Especially when you play badly.
It's a long wait even if you win. I mean, who wants to wait an extra week? We've already got buys during the year.
Yeah, but if you win, at least you can watch the replay.
Yeah, then you got 2 weeks to talk about the fact that you won.
Yeah, I guess I can see why they did it. They wanted a Sydney game early to compete against the rugby.
Didn't they get a good one, though?
Yeah, probably a dream for them, having the GWS and Gold Coast win, especially Gold Coast since they beat Richmond.
Anything else on the split round?
It's shit. We don't want to see it again.
Yeah, I think we can all agree it's shit.
I think it's a thing to come. I mean, another reason why I gave Dimitro a C for compromise last week is it's part of all his measures to milk it for what it's worth and make more money.
Ricky Nixon on open mic, toot toot, happened yesterday.
Well,
I
Tyler
didn't see
said he was going to watch it.
I did watch it, and yeah, I got to say that he was extremely closed about. He had to be let out, and he only gave some information based on the fact that Mike gave him some extremely pointed questions. He didn't exactly acknowledge that he was addicted to cocaine, although he kind of said that. And he said that he was about to jump off a bridge in London, and a phone call pulled him back from that.
Shame he didn't.
But I think that he was completely in denial because he didn't exactly come out and acknowledge everything that was going on in his life.
Yeah, he just spun a web of bullshit, and he name-dropped Clinton Gribus, which was out of context, but it was just the kind of thing he was doing. He was playing for sympathy the whole way through. Then at the end he said he took responsibility, but he took responsibility the same way James Hird took responsibility, really. It was, yeah.
He never directly said, I did this, I took these drugs, and I influenced these decisions. He never said any of that. He really danced around it the whole time.
He blamed Duffy for everything.
It was a nothing interview.
Pretty much was, except to say that we heard his side of the story, so he can't hide behind the James Hird defence and say, oh, when my side of the story's out there, we've heard it, and it was pretty unconvincing.
Yeah, nothing different from him. But, well, I mean, what were we going to expect? Because he's always sort of hidden behind innuendo and rumour and supposition before. So, it was exactly the same thing from him.
Pretty much. But yeah, another interesting thing in the news this week was an AFL club proposing that clubs could trade a player without their consent.
It has to be Brisbane, doesn't it?
Apparently it's a Victorian team.
Well, it can't be Brisbane then, because Fitzroy folded.
Ooh, hang on. I've got a PM from Roy Lyon coming in.
He's tearing it up on the history board at the moment, apparently.
Yeah, I read
Apparently
that.
they're playing in the second division Amos from somewhere.
Yeah. Silent Alarm goes down, watches them every week.
If
Fitz royalty.
So if it's not Brisbane who are the obvious candidate, you got to be thinking. I know Essendon are a bit shitty about losing Cromeri. They didn't like the fact he picked his own club.
They didn't like the fact that he made a choice.
Yeah. He didn't say yes, Heard, please, Heard. 3 bags full, so. The other obvious club comes in is Dan's favourite club. I mean, they have a habit of whinging about just about everything. So maybe North Melbourne.
Or maybe North are the complainers. They don't want theme songs. They don't want the roof open.
But it seems like a silly idea, really.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I think some clubs are getting screwed at the moment with the way the players can just nominate a club.
My personal suggestion is just to get rid of the draft altogether. If a player doesn't want to be there, they won't have to play for them. because I personally would have rather had players who are less talented but were actually willing to stay.
But that's why you have interviews.
Yeah, so I like the draft. I mean, without the draft, you can have like an English Premier League and have
Yeah,
four
no one
teams
wants
who've
that.
got a chance to win. Yeah.
Thing is, though, there's still going to be a salary cap, so teams just can't get all the good youngsters.
No, but then they have to pay overs to get mid-range players. That's basically what the NRL is like.
Yeah.
You have to pay overs to get a shit player.
But yeah, the NRL is actually a pretty good model for that, and it's the way they do it's pretty ordinary. The way the talent gets spread around, and everyone moves all the time, which isn't ideal.
And they move mid-season, which is just does my head in. I could support a guy I know who's been playing for Collingwood next year.
Yeah, you wouldn't pick him after a while.
Yeah, exactly. If they said next year I'm going to play for another team, I wouldn't want my team to play him.
Not even if he
Yeah.
performs on his own merits.
No, not really. No,
Once the finals are gone, piss him off.
What if he's the star of your team?
no. I wouldn't want him playing.
With Callum Ward with the Dogs, it was pretty much known a week to go that he was gone. I didn't want the Dogs to play him in the last game.
I wouldn't want my team to play him.
What if there was more than 4 points on the line, like a spot in the grand final or the actual premiership?
You do it in that situation, yeah, but a lot of cases players moving isn't like that.
I don't think it's going to get up, so...
No, I don't, it's just silly. I think the club's thrown that out there just because the Players Association are coming back to the table on the collective bargaining and want more free agency. And I reckon the club's just thrown that out there and gone, yeah, well, what about us kind of thing? You know, we want to be able to do this. And that's my theory.
Yeah, so you got to wonder what the culture of that club is, if they're that worried about retaining their players, or conversely wanting to piss that player off and, you know, force them down a track that they don't want to go down.
Yeah, like imagine the poor player who gets sent to St Kilda against his will.
That's another good point. I mean, you've got teams have trading reps for a reason. I mean, Essendon's got a poor trading rep. The Pelicans now at St Kilda, so you can guess he probably had an idea on this. He seems...
It's not like consent is a popular concept down at St Kilda either. Anyway, this week on the Bay, thread of the week suggestions. I think there's only one real obvious one.
Yeah, Moffat thread.
Mothra.
Yep, financial analysis of Buddy's 2014 season.
He came in late. It only just came in yesterday. With
I think it's on the back of his low-carb, high-fat diet that got him over the line.
I reckon that thread's got a lot of legs.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Buddy's going to shape up in any way, shape or form to the expectations. So that's just going to come in week after week. Moffra's got this tack for creating threads that just got all of this longevity. Like when he goes after St Kilda, and now he goes
Bottom
after...
50.
Oh, yeah. Bottom 50.
What he is
Go on,
is
Ant.
an intelligent troll, so he doesn't, you know, do the obvious cut and paste from Herald Sun of the Age, right? You filthy inbreds.
No, it's not the sledgehammer, is it?
No,
He's got a lot going with this thread, and this is going to last.
But yeah, no, that was a thread of the week, I think. All right, so who was our flog of the week then?
Well, really, you have a look through, and I don't think anyone really stands out. And
It's been a lean week.
there's nobody who deserves a title. I mean, it's not something you want to give to some mediocre hack. You know, you want a real flog to be the flog of the week. So I'm going to say we have a hiatus this week.
Yeah,
Hiatus.
Hiatus. I did have paddles.
no one worthy of it this week. All the Sydney supporters went missing, which was disappointing. Pick up your game, Bay 13, because none of you were suitably floggish or, to warrant it. And just on last week's poll, real quick before we finish, will David Swallow be at Norf in 2018? 29% said yes, 59% said no, Andrew will go to the Gold Coast before then.
I actually voted for that one.
And the rest said North will get Jack Watts instead. So, anyway, moving on to the games, we'll start with Geelong Adelaide at Shithole Stadium.
You're not going to get a rise out of me this time.
I think Geelong will smash them.
I'm going to let it slide. So you can call it Shithole Stadium, and I don't care.
I heard we can bank on a 5-goal performance from the Tomahawk.
Yeah, and he'll still be called a fat fuck by the stupid fucking Hawthorn supporters.
The other thing I'm looking forward to is it is a big occasion down Geelong, a Thursday night. You know, the whole town's going to be there.
Yeah, crap on about the crime rate and fucking houses.
Yeah, the crime rate rises when Geelong win. Everyone knows that's established fact.
One day, maybe not you, Fyfie, because you got too many ferals who go to the footy, so they won't come to Conniving Park. But Ant or Dan, you guys do need to come and play us down at Conniving Park, and I will take you down there and sit you in the guest seats in the social club and show you what a magnificent stadium it is and how wonderful it is and what a great stadium it is, and you'll be turned around.
So basically you want us walled off from the normal shithole ferals.
Yes.
It's a bit like going to North Korea and you can only see so many parts of it. You know, you're Dennis Rodman basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't sit with the unwashed. I sit in the high-class seats, and my
The
guess,
multicoloured mare.
Yeah, alongside the mayor. He'll be tossing the coin, I imagine. It's a big night.
if I get close enough to him, I'll fucking shoot him.
Anything else on that?
I'm tipping Geelong.
Geelong for me.
I'm very nervous about this. I reckon we will just win, and it will be at the death. Yeah, we could lose it.
Next game.
North Melbourne Essendon at Etihad Stadium, so I expect
The
the
roof
roof
to be
has to be
closed.
closed,
Yes.
and we're not going to hear
Unfortunately,
any.
both theme songs will be heard before the game.
Really, there's bombers will be flying up.
What a
It's,
gay theme song they have.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of like, see the bombers get fucked up the passage of Brown. Our boys who play this kind of game are always up for a bit of sadistic pain. See the bombers get fucked. We love
And
this gay
David
stuff,
Hill
it's
is in the
strange.
team.
Morning, noon, and night, we the pillow bite as the bombers get fucked.
There was a standing ovation from David Hill there.
Oh, he's standing because he can't sit down.
But I reckon if North are the real deal this year, they should do Essendon.
Yeah, I
This
think North should win this game. Essendon got a few outs and North's close to full strength, so I would imagine North should
I
win.
think how many red cards are going to be on the Essendon and or North Melbourne board, depending on who loses
Oh,
and who
look,
wins, because
well,
you guys hate each other.
we do.
No, Essendon don't hate you. You're not their rivals.
Oh, that's right.
You're the peasants.
I'll write 5 pages about you, but you're a
Yeah.
peasant.
Just ask Jade.
North to win this one. Easy.
I
Did it?
expect a sweet left foot infraction to be overturned, no matter what the result is.
Look, Essendon would want to win this because Dank got the show cause notices on Thursday. So once they've had the 10-day cooling off period from that to respond, the infractions follow. So this might be the first live game Essendon play with all their players. They might want to win this one to keep themselves ahead of St Kilda.
You'll have to
Well,
get
if
on
they-
in the third quarter if North choke.
But yeah, is that everything on that game?
Yeah, I think we're all
So?
tipping North.
Yeah, go North.
North.
Yep, North.
Okay, we'll move on to Hawthorn versus Brisbane in Tassie, which is, they played 4 weeks ago, and it didn't go so well, Paddles.
Yeah, obviously this is going to be a very tough game for us. So first game for Leper. Well, hopefully we can be as competitive as we were against Geelong last year at the shithole.
Get fucked.
And you were defending him, Teach, as well.
Yeah, so this is why you don't offend people, Teach.
They burn you.
Yeah, bite the hand that feeds you. You're going to get your fucking head kicked in down in Tasmania, Paddles, and get ready for it.
Fortunately for Brisbane, there's a good chance they won't be on the bottom because Collingwood lost by 70 points.
Yeah, if we don't get trashed on the right side, at least we'll be above the scum.
Well, I'm not sure about it.
Because how much did Hawks beat Brisbane in the NAB challenge? That was
130 points going at half pace.
Yeah. So being in Tasmania, I think this is going to be like the scene out of Deliverance, But
It's going to be
squealing like a pig.
One other thing that's very good is congratulations on the AFL for in round one sending Hawthorn to their home ground to unveil the flag down at Aurora Stadium.
Are they unveiling it down there?
Well, it's their home ground.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Yep.
Yeah, like a lot of the times they send the reigning premier into state round one, and the flag gets unveiled in round 2 or round 3. But good on them for letting Hawthorn do it in round 1, sending them to their home ground so they can unveil it.
I agree, Fyfie. I mean, the AFL kind of often overlooks the Tassie team, I should say. So it's good for the Tassie Hawks.
Yep. All right. Moving on.
It's the cripple fight. Come on.
Yes.
Match of the round.
This is probably the most intriguing game of the round.
The loser of this game is in for the longest season.
This is
Attention
still
shoppers. Attention shoppers. Cripple fight, R5. Cripple fight, R5.
This is really Melbourne's game to lose, though. Even with their forward line out, St Kilda are decimated at the
Well,
moment.
they can't play at the Dome, and they're shocking.
Yeah, and just no Clark, no Dawes, no Hogan. Jack Watts is going to
No.
have to dominate.
I wouldn't put it past St Kilda to actually win it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And all of a sudden, Melbourne's pre-season and all the inflation from, the enthusiasm that came with Paul Roos, that balloon is just going to pop. And that might set the tone for the rest of the season. And they might struggle to get past St Kilda from here, as bad as St Kilda are, and as we all pick them for the spoon.
I've sort of changed my tune as Mitch Clark has withdrawn and Melbourne have got their troubles. I actually think St Kilda are going to win this.
I'm tipping the D's because
I'm sticking with Melbourne just because I think St Kilda are that bad. But, geez, the injuries have hit them at the wrong time.
I'm going to Saints.
Last game of the round, West Coast versus the Bulldogs over in Perth.
Oh, look, Ant,
Again,
you got
we
you got a Sunday game.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon. Another one. Yeah, I'm quietly confident. I'm not as confident as, say, a Fyfie versus Gold Coast, but I, th- I think
Look how
our
that
mid-
turned out.
yeah. So we generally struggle with West Coast forward line. So if we can stop them, midfield will pretty much has their measure. It's really been their forwards which have got us in the past. Ryan Griffin hasn't played a game all pre-season with a bit of a back niggle, but he's going to be playing this week.
I heard he won't. They're not going to risk him.
Oh, fair enough. Then I guess they're that confident about our midfield that we don't even need our best player. But I guess the other talking point with the Dogs team has been Sean Higgins has been able to get on the park and he's been playing well off half back. But really, if we can stop Darling and what's his name, Stutterboy.
And
Yes.
you're fucked. You're fucked. You're not going to win, mate. I mean, it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be tight because the Bulldogs are developing and they are coming, but you're not going to win, mate.
But are you, when you make that statement, are you getting sucked into the West Coast overrating? That seems to have happened the last 2 years now. That a lot of people picked them to finish top last year, or top 2 or 3.
No, I don't think they're any good, the West Coast, but they are probably just going to beat the Bulldogs because
They have the umpires on their side.
yeah, and
I'll be the moral winner.
as you said, Worsfold is on the umpires coaching
Whack.
panel, so yep, we can crack, fucking Joel Selwood, yes. And it's all to do with the games experience of the Western Bulldogs players. They've got a lot of really young, very talented kids that are going to make this side fantastic, but they don't have that 50 to 100 games experience yet. And so they're going over there to the West Coast and they're probably going to get rolled. The boo crowd are going to get them. Boo, boo. And the umpires are going to get sucked in. So it's not going to be much in it, but they're just going to get rolled just this time. But not a bad result for the Bulldogs because I'm sure that the experience will, just build the experience of those younger players. So sorry to cut you off, Ant, but you're fucked.
That's all right. Well, it doesn't sound like we're fucked. It sounds like we're going to have an honourable loss, according to you. I think fucked is what Brisbane are going to be this weekend.
Yeah,
But
so do I.
Yeah, you're right.
really, I kind of agree with you. As I said, I don't think this is a penciled-in win, but I think we have a sniff if our midfield can get on top and we can stop their forwards. So I think we're in the same boat, Tyler. Just have a different definition of fucked.
I was going to lean with the Dogs, but hearing that Griffin may not be playing has me thinking maybe West Coast. I think Murphy is definitely going to have to play if you're any chance to win.
He's confirmed, I believe, but Griffin's not.
Is he? Okay.
I'll tell you what, Ant, if the Bulldogs do get up this weekend, you're probably a year ahead of where I thought you were because, you're taking your young side over there and the West Coast aren't that good, but if your team can hold their nerve, they could be in for some serious improvement this year.
We'll wait and see, but I'm confident our midfield has their measure, but I'm not confident that we can get over their forwards.
Excellent. I think that's that. So this was the Flogcast for round 1. Fyfie joined by Dan.
So yeah.
Paddles.
Yeah.
Ant.
See you later.
Shpeshal Ed.
See you later, guys.
And Teach.
Good night.
Yeah, so thanks for listening and we'll see you all next week.